Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Nerds Order Music interview. Today we have a member from the band Seethe, who is also the owner of Brutal Business Entertainment. What is up, my friend Patrick? How you doing today?
Not too bad, buddy. We're just chilling like a villain over here. It's the day after show. We're on that recovery stage, if you will.
Nice. How was that show, by the way?
It was a good show. Very DIY, which is something I haven't done in a minute. We played up in Oil. Well, I played up in Oil City. We had another Brutal Business band called Lost in the Mutiny. We went up to Oil City yesterday for the Scarecrow Feaster Fest, and it was a really nice building. I think it was like a town landmark, but it was like an art building, art display museum type thing. And they had the one room in the back rented out, and threw it down back there. We had some metal, there was some folk.
All right, let's take off where we left off.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard?
How it was in an art building?
Yeah, it was in an art museum up in Oil City, and they had the room rent. They essentially had the whole building, but we had everything set up in this like big room in the back. It was a fun night. It was a bunch of different genres. Obviously, like not a huge turnout because there's really not much up in Oil City, but the building only had like I think 30-person capacity with COVID restrictions and everything. But we had there was like a noise act. We had like metalcore. There was a folk act, punk rock act. It was just a cold night of a bunch of different kinds of music and people just wanting to get together and jam out, man. It was good times and good vibe, man.
Who is the punk rock act?
Punk rock, they were called Wasted Potential. They're up for the Clarion area.
Because there's another group in PA. They're called Homemade Ski Mask. They're a punk rock group band. They're a punk rock band as well.
Yeah, Homemade Ski Mask. Yeah,
I interviewed them. I interviewed them rather recently as well. Awesome guys. All right, my next question is: when did your entry to music begin? Where did it all start for you?
Oh, dude, I grew up in a musical family. You had my mom's side of the family who they were very like the classic rock, like the Doors, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, all of them kind of stuff. And then there was my dad's side of the family who was very, very like OG country, Grand Ole Opry, back in the day, and kind of what I started whenever I really started getting into music, like Stevie Ray Vaughan and John Mellencamp were two really, really big influences on me. John Mellencamp made me want to be a singer-songwriter. Stevie Ray Vaughan made me want to pick up the guitar and shred. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where a lot of it started at. And I started out on guitar. I got my first guitar from my grandfather when I was young. I'm going to say I was maybe 8 or 9. But, it was given to me. I never got lessons or anything, never learned to take it seriously. And then when I got a little bit older, I wanted to start getting lessons. And it was funny. My stepdad at the time, he had said, you want lessons, you got to buy your first guitar. I want you to buy a guitar, show me that you want it. Because at that time, I was young. I was in my early teens. I was trying to figure out, who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. I tried sports. I really wasn't into sports that much, but I always come back to music. So I had a 30-06 hunting rifle, traded it, sold it. And whenever I come back from my dad's house that weekend after we'd sold the gun, we stopped at Target on the way home. And I bought my very first guitar. It was like a starter Washburn acoustic. I come through with the guitar and I'm like, bought my first guitar. Let me see them lessons. And he was like, fuck. It was all downhill from there, man. The rest is history. I was primarily a guitar player for years. I played anything from John Mellencamp and, John Mayer type stuff to Stevie Ray Vaughan. Then I got into, heavier music. Started out on stuff like Slipknot and whatnot. Then I got into like technical death metal and stuff like that. I can't sweep pick, but I can shred pretty good. But I always come back to wanting to be a singer, and I just never had the confidence. And about 4 years ago, whenever me and my guitarist, we started Nine Stitch Method, like that's whenever I really started to embrace the frontman side of things. And then now here we are 4 years later. Done a lot of cool stuff with Nine Stitch Method. Being a singer, though, man, I'll say this: it's the funnest job in the world, but it's the most stressful. I mean, yeah, with like being a guitarist and just overall playing an instrument, yeah, you got to practice. You got to worry about your gear and stuff, making sure your stuff's going to work live and everything. But the human voice is just so delicate and fragile. If you don't take good care of it, you're gonna fall on your face live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's been a learning experience, definitely. I've learned a lot, what I can do, what I can't do, how to somewhat take care of my voice, make sure I'm good to go. I still have good shows and bad shows, but it's been a wild ride, man.
That's awesome. So when did the whole Seethe project start?
Well, Seethe was one of them things. In general with music, I'm always writing. Now that I have like a little setup at home, kind of, I could work on, features and collabs and stuff, but my brain never stops. And whenever the pandemic happened last year, we weren't able to get together. We didn't know what was going on. So I was kind of like, well, I've always wanted to kind of do something solo, but I was always afraid just because, I have no problem working in a group dynamic. But whenever you're by yourself, you have to have the motivation to do it, to get it done, because everything relies on you. But you also don't have anyone to really tell you, this sucks. No, or like maybe try this, you could ask people, but a lot of times, your friends will just be like, yeah, it sounds cool, man. It sounds, you don't get any feedback or anything. But, I was stuck at home. I was like, okay, well, like I can try this electronic, trap metal, industrial, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. And it just kind of took off from there, man. And it's become a thing of its own. I'm actually pretty surprised. A lot of people are digging it. I'm getting booked shows for it. I never thought I'd be playing shows for this stuff. So it's different, but it's cool, man. It's been taking on a life of its own, something I never thought, but we're just taking with it and running with it, I suppose.
Nice. I love that. Well, speaking of that, tell me about the new album you dropped.
Well, the new album, it drops this coming Friday. Friday on the 23rd. Yes, Departures. Dude, I'm pumped, man. I'm always proud of anything I've put out. I try to make sure it's as perfect as I can. I feel like this time around I really captured the vibes I was going for. It was very, very cathartic. How do I want to put it? That's the everybody has their own specific reasons for doing music. A lot of it is just outside of it being fun and it just being in my blood. It's cathartic. And 2020, man, whew, it was a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, 2020 for a lot of people, it was the first time ever where we were forced to sit at home and you really had to reflect on what you had around you, the life choices you've made, because we couldn't go anywhere. We were supposed to stay home. Some of us, yeah, like we went to work and whatnot, but you were really forced to face the life you created within the confines of your home. And I've been battling, like depression and stuff for years and whatnot. I was going through a really dark period. And I one night had taken it upon myself to, do the dirty deed, end it all.
I've been there. I know the pain.
Yeah. And the thing is thankfully I didn't succeed with that. And at the end of the day, it's crazy because depression does a really fucked up thing in your head where you're thinking it's never going to get better. But I look back at it because I felt that, dude. I felt like I was at the end of it. And what's crazy is it bomb bottomed everybody because nobody had any clue that I was like in this kind of shape. I kept everything all tucked down and whatnot. But when it happened, and I came out of that, I was forced to, I became the man I needed to be. I became the father I needed to be to my kids. I became the husband I needed to be. I ended up going on to be a small business owner, running a label. I ended up starting a solo project, where I'm writing and recording, releasing and playing shows and stuff for that. It's picking up momentum. And there's so many other things, but it's not my story of woe is me, my life is so bad, but it's a matter of, hang in there, dude. You got more life in the tank. It will get better. I am a testament to that. I will scream it until my my dying days, dude. So, but the album's dark. There's not really necessarily the light at the end of the tunnel message to it, but dude, it was just pouring my soul into it, man. Just getting all that negativity and all that energy out, just hitting record and just going the fuck off and let the music take control.
That's usually the best way to go, honestly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. Some of my favorite tracks that I've done have always been like that. Just a matter of just, having it build up, hit record, and just letting it out and releasing it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to vent too, I can imagine.
Yes, sir. It's not the healthiest way, but it definitely helps.
Hey, it works. It works.
Exactly. And what's crazy too is like, for a lot of us that are musicians and stuff, it's one of the, we write this stuff for us, but like, if you get something out of it listening to my shit, reading the words that I write, if you're able to take something positive away from that, that's really all I give a shit about at the end of the day, dude. I mean, yeah, with like a couple $1 million contract and shit, yeah, all that stuff's good, but dude, like it's about the music and it's about to giving something for the listeners to take away from it. That's really all I strive for at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's how music is for me. It's like I look for the importance in the music instead of just how it sounds. Because mention about what you said earlier about how things got better, I'm a testament to that myself. Because I was in a very bad place mentally. My depression was getting worse and worse because of some people who drove me to try to make me end my own life, and then music got me out of that, and that's how I started this up, and that's how I found Dakota and how I met you. Music has gotten me out of so much shit, and that just made me want to give back. So, like I said, this project started up, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and look at how far you've come, dude, in this short amount of time, man. You're getting bands from all over.
I know, it's so fun.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I never expected this to happen. I'm just some kid from Connecticut. I never expected this to blow up into anything.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get back to music and do my part.
Everybody's got to start from somewhere, buddy.
Fair enough. So where did Brutal Business begin? Like, where did that start up?
Brutal Business, man. Brutal Business has been around a long time. Garrett Jagerman, the artist formerly known as Skippy Ickham, it was his baby for years and years. It was primarily a horrorcore label slash what's the word I'm looking for? Collective. Just a bunch of cool musicians doing a bunch of cool things, man. My band, Nine Stitch Method, we were the first metal act to join back in the beginning of 2019. And, we were obviously the odd band out because we were the only metal act, but them guys, man, they welcomed us in with open arms, like family and everything. Me and Garrett got really tight, whenever we joined. I was down for the cause. I was behind the scenes helping with stuff. Him and I just developed a really good, professional relationship. And we did a lot of really cool things together, played a lot of badass shows and whatnot. And you fast forward to 2020, Garrett, like I said, Garrett had been doing music for years. He'd had the label for a while. And he was just he just had his first kid. And he was seeing his life take a different path. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of like anything, when the love for the craft leaves and it feels like work, a lot of us feel like it's time to hang it up. And he just had other things he wanted to do. And he'd reached out to me. He was like, yo, like, I'm thinking of stepping out. Do you want to take the keys to the kingdom? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I was terrified, dude. I didn't know. Some days I'm still flying by the seat of my pants with this thing, but it's been a wild ride, man. Lot of growing pains, but I'm liking the direction VBE is going, man. We're a very diverse, eclectic group of people. We have now amongst our ranks, we have, you know, hip hop, we have rock, we have all different kinds of metal. You know, we got some hardcore, we got some deathcore, some progressive type stuff. We got people that are hungry, people that want it. And, you know, once shows pick back up, I'm pretty excited to see where things go. We got a lot of cool projects underway. The modeling division has a bunch of cool stuff going up. Last year in 2020, the game streaming sector of the label, every year, Cody, Demo Demon, he runs the Extra Life streaming event for the Children's Miracle Network. Last year, we had our biggest event in donations. Raised, I think it was almost 2K for the Children's Hospital and the Children's Miracle Network. Just a lot of cool stuff, man. It's been a lot of work, a lot of hustle, especially with everything going on with COVID and whatnot. But it's a monster, man. It's taken it's become a full-time job outside of the job I already have. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
a lot of really, really cool things, man. I try not to speak too much on stuff, you know, just because sometimes stuff falls through the, you know, so I don't like to say, oh, we're doing this and then it fall through. But we got a lot of cool stuff coming, man. We got a lot of great music and content coming out. It's exciting times, to say the least, man.
I'm excited to hear that. I got something to look forward to. Because ever since like Dakota told me about your label, I'm like, I've been looking into it a lot. I'm like, holy shit, this is some good stuff. Like I love both labels, and I'm just so happy to be a part of like this thing we're starting up. I love it.
Oh, dude, absolutely, man. I'm so glad that Dakota had put us in contact with one another.
Honestly, I'm so glad he found me.
Friendship, man, for real.
You know, I work with Sepsis. Them post what you're doing on Facebook. Me, okay. I expect to get 1 or 2 responses. No, I get 10 bands, and then I get Dakota. I'm like, who the hell? I look at it. I'm like, oh my god. And then he puts me in a chat with his podcast guys. I'm like, okay. And he tells me about you. I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And now I'm over here like, I am so happy. I regret nothing. Best decision of my life. All right, let's see. My next question is, who would you love to collaborate with in studio and on stage?
In studio and on stage, I would love to collaborate with. Are we talking like a famous act?
Anything.
That's always a hard one. I would say I would collab on a track with Tim Williams from Blood Simple and Vision of Disorder. Whenever I started singing and kind of trying to find my voice, he was a huge inspiration to me. So Tim Williams, love to collab with him on a track. And if talking about on stage, something with Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains is one of my favorite bands of all time. That would be badass. I don't care if it's me playing guitar. I don't care if it's me singing, whatever. Alice in Chains all the way, baby.
Nice. I've heard of them. Like I've heard a lot of good things about them, so I've been looking into them myself, and I can see why people take inspiration.
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially like the Lane Staley era of Alice in Chains. Rest in peace, Lane. Yeah, dude, that guy has influenced floods and floods of musicians after his time, man. It's crazy the impact one person can have.
Honestly, that's why I love music. It has such a high impact on people. It can help them with venting out their pain. It can get them in a good mood. It can just help with anything that's going through their mind.
Exactly.
Honestly, like metalcore is what got me out of a lot of my shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what inspired me to start this up. And I'm just like, let's see where this goes. If I can make something out of it, I would love to do that. And then as soon as I posted episode 15 with Sepsis, everything just started flooding in. Honestly, I was not expecting it to grow that much. I really wasn't.
Well, I was on a podcast the other night with God Hates Unicorns. They're a band from Pittsburgh as well. A very fun group of guys and gal. Great people. And they started up a podcast called Bands We Love That Aren't As Good as God Hates Unicorns. And this was a topic that we were talking about, something that I feel that, the real envy, especially within the past year with COVID and everything. We weren't able to do shows and whatnot and really get out there. We weren't able to tour. We weren't able to travel. It's like a lot of like stuff like this, podcasts, online radio stations, stuff like that. Like I feel y'all don't get enough, appreciation for what y'all do. Y'all were the ones carrying the torch and helping people get their friggin' music and getting their name out there, man. Like it's crazy the dynamic of how everything changed over the course of the past couple of years. It was a big learning curve because people like me, I'm not very social media savvy. I'm not very, I sold my merch and sold my CDs and stuff at shows. Like that's how I mainly got out there, and that got taken away from me, And it was people like you and like Unsigned Showcase, local band Smokeout. There's a Hot Licks with Lily Six, the Homegrown Rockers, stuff like that like really helped get not only my music, but like Brutal Business's music out there, doing interviews and stuff like that, man. So like, dude, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing what you're doing, man.
It's a pleasure. I do this because I love music.
Really appreciated.
Simple as that. Music is why I'm still here. So I wanted to give back as much as I could.
Exactly.
Honestly, there are so many unsigned bands who I would love to help, and I try to help every single one of them if possible. And now being in touch with labels, that makes things a lot easier because now I can send their stuff over.
It's being on like when you take something like, because I know like DI Records, for example, and Brutal Business are two very different things. Like, I tell everybody who comes on board, like I tell them, like, I'm probably not going to be able to make you famous, but I'll bust my ass for you. We're a team that, iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We try to do a lot of things in-house, like be able to provide audio production, be able to provide photography, videography, promotion and stuff like that. I try to make sure that, especially some of the guys coming in are green, because this business, it's not all fun and games, man. It takes a little bit to get your foot in the door, to be heard and whatnot. You got to find the right people, that are not only good people, but can help you out and point you in the right direction, and that's what we try to do here, man.
Yeah. Like, even if it's one new listener, it's still better than nothing, and it still like helps spread the music.
Exactly.
So that's what I meant by what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Because it'll help me promote their stuff more, because I'll be able to spread it, even if it's just by myself spreading it, better than nothing.
Yep.
So my next question is, what is the best piece of advice you ever got when starting music?
Oh man. I would make sure, because nowadays it's a lot different than it used to be. I would say one piece of advice is, if you are a musician and you're putting out material to help get you on shows, to, promote your craft, make sure you have decent production on it. It doesn't have to be, top notch. There's many ways and tools and stuff nowadays that you can do from home, where you can find people at a decent rate. But make sure your stuff is tight. Make sure it's sounding good. Make sure there's decent production on it. Another thing too, I would say, is just learn how to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not sociable, but not learn how to conduct yourself in a good business sense. My role, don't break the rule of the universe. Don't be a dick. You know what I'm saying? If you're reaching out to ask about services or something from a company, don't just give them a link like, oh, here's my new single, and then, nothing else, like, talk to them like they're people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously you're interested in them for a reason. Conduct yourself in a business like sense, introduce who you are, what you're about, what you're asking, and make sure to say like please and thank you, just simple stuff like that,
Simple formality.
Exactly. Simple formality. Yes. Because if you're a dick right off the bat, nobody gonna want to work with you.
It's gonna be like, oh, you're like this? Bye-bye. Hit the road.
Yep. Pretty much. I think that's my biggest pet peeve. This, I mean, my inbox blows up a lot with people just being like, hey, check out my new single. I don't know you from Eve to Adam, bro. 9 times out of 10, I'll check it out. I'll listen to it. Maybe I'll share it, leave a comment, whatever. But that just gives me a pet peeve, dude. It's just one of just drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
If I can't even say hi, please check out my single. No, here's my new single. Like, dude, I don't even know you. Why should I check you out? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's like be respectful first, and then then you'll get the respect you want from the person you're talking to.
Exactly.
I get that a lot too. Someone just was like, "Here, check out my new single." I'm like, and then I want to interview. I'm like, dude, can you be more polite, please? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, for real. It's people amaze me, dude.
That happened to me one time, and I still scheduled it, to be nice, and they bailed me. I'm like, really? I'm up at 3 a.m. because you wanted to talk.
Well, let me ask you this question. With that being said, that made you appreciate the good ones that much better.
Oh, most definitely, without a doubt. It made me appreciate a lot of the good ones, because it's like I would rather have people talk with me with the respect being mutual than it being one-sided.
Exactly.
Because if it's one-sided, it ain't gonna work out for Jack. Just being totally honest there. Like if the feeling is not mutual, it ain't gonna work out.
Yep, 100%.
It goes with everything in life, honestly.
Yep.
All right, my final question of the evening is: what is the future for Seethe, and what is next for Brutal Business?
Brutal Business Entertainment. Like I said, we got a lot of really cool projects. I don't want to speak too much on what we got going now, but with things semi going back to normal, I guess you could say the summer is going to be the real test of how normal things are going to get back. But looking forward to getting us out there and playing shows. Looking to expand our, demographic. We've already got an act out in Washington that's Statistic. He's an awesome guy. We have a rap act down in Florida by the name of Sick Fist, and another one in Texas by the name of Illinois. Hoping to expand that, and just overall, just keep putting the pedal to the metal and growing and pushing out, baby. That's pretty much what our plan is at this point. As far as Seethe, like I said, I'm about ready to drop my next album this coming Friday on the 23rd. Departures. It'll be available on all major digital platforms. I'll have physicals at shows and whatnot. After that, I'm probably not going to release an EP or an album for a while. I'm probably just going to drop singles.
Yeah,
I've already been writing and recording and getting masters back from my producer, so I've already got a stockpile of stuff just to keep content flowing. I got a bunch of features I got to bang out here and get them done and back. So it's just keeping the name and keeping the work rolling. Play more shows. I'm excited for that. I got a couple more shows lined up. I'm sure more is going to come as long as shows are starting to happen again. So it's exciting. Just keep pushing and keeping the nose to the grindstone. That's about all I can do.
I cannot wait to see where this goes from here, honestly. I'm really excited.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
And I'm gonna have to buy a CD now because I collect, like, I prefer physical copies of everything I listen to, because that's just how I am. Say if internet craps out one day or something happens, I have the physicals to go back to. So I always collect physical copies of everything I can.
Well, it's a good thing you said that, because I plan on getting your address and shipping you over some stuff. So
Ooh, thank you very much.
no need to thank me. You're good, buddy.
This is great. I love doing this, honestly. It's just, you meet a lot of cool people doing this.
You really do. And what's nice about it is okay, so where's the closest you've talked to somebody doing this, and where's the furthest?
Closest was actually in the same state as I was, and it was like totally out of the blue. Because we were talking about planning a day. He goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "Connecticut." He goes, "Me too, bro." I'm like, "Go figure." He and I just dying of laughing. He's a pop artist called Ruby Coco. He's a really chill dude. He's really respectful, really nice. And he went to a bunch of people for an interview, and everyone turned him down except for me. And I'm just like, you know what? After hearing that, I can't turn you down. I want to do this. The farthest I would have to say would be, I think, Brazil or the Netherlands.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Cool. That's cool.
The band from Brazil, I sent you their stuff a while ago. XT, What I've Become.
Yeah.
That was the Brazilian group.
Well, funny enough, going along this topic, that's where my main producer and one of our producers we have in-house over at Brutal Business, that's where he's from, is Brazil. And you know, the internet is an amazing thing, because like a lot the feature that just dropped on the 15th, that a guy by the name of Abnormal had me on his track Apocalypse. He's from over in Egypt. Yeah, I've got several beats off of him. My single Stain is one of his. A track off of Abstract Thoughts called 1,000 Words. That's one of his. Some of the singles I'm going to be dropping in the future are beats from him. Dude's a talented producer. He's got a real cool niche and style. He's a great vocalist and rapper and stuff too. Just an all-around great dude. I've gotten the chance. Cy from the Unsigned Showcase. He's from over in, I believe, London. I got a track coming out with him. It's just been cool, man. A lot of my features and collabs don't come from around here. They come from, you know, internationally, which is pretty cool, you know, in my opinion. If it weren't for the internet, that stuff wouldn't be able to happen. It's you know, I'm very blessed. You know, I don't consider myself to be big by any, you know, stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty cool that somebody on the other side of the planet wants my voice on their shit. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty wild.
It is. I can imagine. It's so fun just being able to do it in the first place. Yes. Stuff you would never imagine to be possible suddenly happening in your own house, doing everything in house online. Like you wouldn't expect it. Like I never thought I'd ever be able to do this. This is just some dream I had I wanted to do to help me cope with what I was going through, to help me like keep moving forward. And it turned into this. And now it's like something I want to make even bigger and keep going with it. It's been a blast doing this too.
That's awesome, dude. That's great to hear.
It really is. I have no regrets at all doing this. This has been a big part of my life. And I'm happy to be actually able to talk with people like you, Dakota, and all the bands I work with. It's just been an honor more than anything else. That is the best way I can put it. It has made my life a lot better.
I apologize. My phone keeps going off.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
My phone goes off all the time, but in general, anytime I'm on any sort of phone call like this for a podcast or something, everyone's like, now's the time. Let's message him.
It's like, he's on a call. Let's blow up his phone.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I swear to God.
That happens to me all the time. It's happening to me right now. Hence why my phone's on silent. It happens to me so much. Like, my phone's getting spammed with 1,000 notifications, and I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. And I had to look at my questions through my phone because ADHD, bad memory. So I have my questions on my phone ready to go. So I'm seeing all these pop-ups. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, just give me half an hour. Oh, goodness. It's been a blast, though. And after meeting Dakota and you, it's just been a lot better because now I've been working with a lot more groups thanks to you guys. My posts have been more frequent, which has been actually a lot of fun. I just miss I used to have someone who did my editing, and I haven't seen him in a while because he was doing some mental stuff, and I'm over here like, Fraser, I miss you. He's the one who did my the template I use. Okay. Moonlight. Not Moonlight. I got everything the name here. My mind's all over the place today. He's also in his own band. I don't know how it's going right now for him, but I hope he's doing well though. Yeah, Moonlight Promotions. That was him. And everyone's thinking to me, like, when I interviewed bands back then, they're like, do you know him? I'm like, we have never met in person. How do you work together? Online. He's in the UK. I'm in the US.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's all the way up in the UK, and I'm just down here in the US. And awesome. I send my videos over. He had some, sends them back. But now I've been doing everything because I haven't heard from him in like 5 weeks. So I'm kind of concerned about I'm going to try to text him today. But yeah, really good guy. Chill as hell, dude. And just super into metal. He actually gave me a lot of tips when I first started this up. He was the one who taught me how to really get into this.
That's awesome, dude. Hell yeah.
And I learned a lot from him, and I just want to keep it going.
That's like we said earlier, the internet's a crazy thing, man. Well, hell, look, I mean, my producer, like I said, I met him in a community page, just randomly. We started talking, and then we started collabing on stuff, and then my band 9 Stitch Method had wanted to start, upping up the ante on our quality for recording. So like we reached out to him, never met him in person or anything, you know, still he's all the way down in Brazil. We're up here in the States, you know. So it's cool camaraderie, man.
It really is. That's how I met Dakota. Community page. Sepsis.
Yep.
And I'm over here like, Dakota, who's this? I look at the page, I'm like, holy crap. Okay, let's do this. Oh man. He's such a fun guy to be around too. Like he's hilarious.
Look at his good people, man. I love that dude.
Same. He is funny as hell. And I'm over here just like, okay, let's see. He's a jokester. He really is.
You're telling me you've seen our group chat. You know.
Yes, I have. I do a lot of jokes myself. I also do a lot of dark humor, hence why I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be good.
That's why you fit in.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna look up 9-Stitch Method later because now I have more to listen to, which I'm really excited for.
Awesome, buddy. You won't
and
be disappointed.
I'll let you know what I think about it.
Sounds good. I look forward to hearing your report.
All right, will do. This has been another Nerds Order Music interview. Today, our guest was Patrick from Seethe and the owner of Brutal Business Entertainment. Thank you again for being with us tonight. Have an awesome night, my friend.
You too as well, brother.